Green Bay, New York Giants, Monday Night Review. Let's go over some structural issues of the Packers defense and some player issues as well. First play of the game we're going to go over here. It's first and goal inside the 10-yard line. The Giants are going to line up in a condensed formation. Now, when offenses are in condensed formations, what they're trying to do is they're trying to push the defense inside so they can work outside, whether that be in the passing or running game. So, Green Bay, seeing this set, decides to align in man coverage. So, a couple issues with this. As you can see in the highlighted area, the cornerback to the top of our screen here, he's your edge setter against this set. When you play man, all the offense needs to do is have that wideout to the far top of our screen block down. The corner will chase and will have issues setting the edge if he's truly in man coverage, which is going to happen here. That's one issue with this. Let's go on to another issue. We're going to see motion here from number 64, an extra offensive lineman. When you see this, number one, you know it's run because number 64 is not a tight end. That's a true lineman. He is not a passing threat. So when you see that motion, Green Bay needs to recognize this is pass. And because they're trying to add an additional player outside, it's probably a run to the outside. So couple ways we can handle this. If you want to stay in the man coverage call and you can't get the check in time, Darnell Savage to our top of our screen here, he needs to bump and get outside of the corner and receiver here so he can set the edge. Devondre Campbell then needs to push a little further outside than he would be originally. What you're going to see here is Green Bay does not do that. Savage stays put, and as you see, there's a clump of Green Bay defenders in the same area. There's no edge set, and Saquon Barkley takes the ball and walks in for 6. All right, next play we're going to go over. A little 2x2 set with a tight end. For the Giants, Green Bay is going to be in a 5-man rush with their D linemen. They're going to be in a cover 1 call. So cover 1 is man coverage across the board. Because it's 5-man rush, there's no middle hole player. There's just a deep safety. So the arrows indicate who has who. Couple issues with this for Green Bay. Coverage call isn't too much of an issue, but I have an issue with the leveling of the defensive backs to the top of our screen here. So two here, you see on the snap of the ball, they are at the same level. They're within 1 yard of each other. This is how you get picked. This all starts with pre-snap alignment. If you look at their pre-snap alignment, they're at 2 and 4 yards respectively. That's not enough depth that they're giving each other. This is bad alignment. I don't know if this is being coached or the players are just aligning incorrectly. It doesn't make any sense. The corner to the top of our screen here, who's playing the top of the bunch, he needs to be right at 1 yard in a true pressure position. The corner further back at 4 needs to be at 5 to 6 so he can be correctly leveraged and have the proper depth so they don't run into each other. If you watch the clip over again, right here, we watch, these two DBs are going to run into each other. See how he has to push off? It's not what we're looking for. We don't want to have to push off of our own teammate to get to the guy we're supposed to cover. Now, ultimately, that doesn't actually lead to anything bad for the Packers, as there's a completion to the other side of the field. But that's definitely something to look at. That's an issue with structure that should not happen at the NFL level. Clip here, the Giants are going to run a split flow zone read, and they're going to read the left defensive end here, who is highlighted for Green Bay. Green Bay decides to defend this is by spilling with the end, and then they're trying to overlap with the outside backer and the inside backer. There's nothing wrong with this design. There is some problem with how it's executed, though. And as he gets the split flow block, he needs to engage with the tight end coming to block across. He needs to engage with him and take him out 1-for-1. You have to take this guy out of the play. You can't let him climb to the next level. So we'll move on, but we'll come back to this in a second and we'll show why this is an issue. Number 2, off of that split flow action with the tight end, your two inside backers now have to bounce and rock back with that motion. Even though Saquon Barkley who they think has the ball, he does not, DeVito has the ball, is going to the left. They need to rock back to get the numbers back in check. Devon ultimately doesn't read the split flow block well enough. He's too hesitant. He's caught waiting and looking at lineman. The outside backer by Green Bay gets cracked by the receiver. This is very good design by the Giants. They clearly knew how Green Bay was going to defend this, and the corner doesn't trigger in time. He has no passing threat right now. He needs to get upfield and be that secondary contained player to make the ball bounce back in, which he does not do. It takes him too long. Thirdly, remember how I said how the defensive end needs to engage with that tight end and take him out of the play so they're 1-for-1? Well, because he just runs by, now the tight end is able to climb upfield. The Giants have a great numbers advantage at the point of attack, and now it's a tight end against a corner. You have a seal on that backer. Campbell's too late to get there. And DeVito's out the gate for a touchdown. Okay, another big problem here, really big matchup issue. Top of the screen here and being highlighted is Devondre Campbell. The Giants have motioned over a slot receiver, okay, to the top of our screen. Campbell is now bumping, and because of the coverage call, you can kind of see by the corner how his butt is to the sideline and he's playing a bail technique. This is a cover 3. Don't know the specific rules on this or what iteration of 3 they're playing, whether it be match or spot drop zone, but here's the problem. Campbell is now in space against the slot receiver. The Giants are going to run a flea flicker, and off of that, we have a wheel by the slot. So whether it be match, true spot drop, whatever iteration of cover 3, the rule here is once that receiver goes out and does a double move, Campbell now has to cover him man to man, or he's left wide open down the sideline. So Campbell does that. This is a massive matchup issue. You have an inside linebacker covering a speedy slot receiver one-on-one downfield. Not a winning business model. Get the flea flicker, DeVito throws it downfield. Now, Campbell does a great job being step for step with the receiver here. This is a terrible matchup for him, and he does a really good job staying stride for stride. But where he loses is playing the ball. I don't want my inside linebacker having to play the ball against a slot receiver unless it's Fred Warner. Campbell's not capable of doing this. This is very bad design by Joe Barry, and he needs a better check than this. Giants take advantage of it. Really nice job coming back to the ball for a really good gain. Really big issue Green Bay had during the game. This is more of a player-driven one, in my opinion. Even when stunts weren't called for the edges, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, all of Green Bay's edges were diving inside and letting DeVito get to the edge. So if you see Rashawn Gary here, bottom of our screen, left defensive end or outside backer, he's rushing off the edge. Now, he's going to dive inside. It does look to me like Devondre Campbell is spying on this play. So this is technically okay. But if I'm Joe Barry, DeVito's a really good athlete. And once he gets out of the pocket, when a lot of magic was happening for the Giants. So I want to try to keep him in the pocket, regardless if I have a spy or not. So he has to play quarterback and play from the pocket. Did DeVito do well in the pocket? For the most part, yeah, he did. But he was at his best when he got out. So this was a continual issue. So you'll see Gary dive inside. Even though Campbell's spying him, DeVito gets out, gets to be an athlete, which you saw so much at Illinois when he was the quarterback there. And he makes an excellent throw. Top of our screen here, we have a 2 off the edge blitz with the outside backer and Devondre Campbell coming inside of that. Now, there's no issue with this call at all. So they're going to send that pressure off the edge. Okay, here's the issue. Kenny Clark, the defensive tackle here, he needs to slant and be outside of the guard here. The problem with this is because he doesn't and he gets reached, there is now 2 people in the B gap, and there's a huge hole for Saquon to run through. Center easily climbs up to the inside backer and seals him off. Saquon's out of the gate. We get motion. This is an orbit motion by the receiver. Green Bay is going to rock with that orbit motion with the backers. They're going to sling towards the motion. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now, here's a big problem for Green Bay. Both D tackles are in the same gap. The right D tackle stunts inside and is in the same gap as Kenny Clark. Now, another problem here is because the backers have slung with the motion, which you need to do because you need to be number sound. That's fine. Gary now needs to play DeVito on zone read, as Green Bay has been hurt on this play a couple times already tonight. That leaves a crease because both D tackles are in the A gap for Saquon to run through. Now, the safety Owens for Green Bay fills correctly. He's in the right gap here, but it's a one-on-one with a safety, not a linebacker, against Saquon Barkley, and you're probably not going to win that matchup very often. And as you see here, you don't. And again, Saquon is out of the gate. Not a winning business model against the run by Joe Barry and the Packers defense. Last play we'll go over. Here's the play that got the Giants into field goal range. So Green Bay is going to show like they're rushing 5 here. They're ultimately going to send 4 and have their middle linebacker spy DeVito. Now, I have a little bit of issue with the coverage. So Green Bay's playing man again. This is, again, a tight split. This is difficult to play man against too. I think Campbell and the top corner here do a really good job for the most part, actually, being leveled correctly. Here is the big issue. Keyshawn Nixon, the nickel corner for the Packers, is outside leverage of this tight split. As we said earlier, that is the correct leverage to be, because when we have a split inside of the numbers, receivers are always, for the most part, working outside. So Nixon has his outside leverage, which is good. Now, watch the release. Nixon loses his leverage and is going to lunge here and stab with his same side hand, which is going to lock his hip. DeVito steps up, makes a great throw. Nixon is now trailing because of poor technique. We have a completion into Green Bay territory, which ultimately leads to the winning field goal. Those are all the plays I'm going to go over. As you can see, quite a few of them that had big issues to them and mistakes, alignment, and technique problems you don't really expect to see at the NFL level. Ultimately, can Joe Barry get this fixed? A lot of Packers fans think that he has had quite a bit of leeway and enough is enough. I guess only time will tell, and we will see. Thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you like what you see. I'm going to try to put one of these out a week. Thanks for watching, guys.